Hey guys, it's Elizabeth WMT Forever, and I have water with frozen pineapple chunks in it because it's summertime and I'm being fancy for no apparent reason. So there's that. No makeup on because I'm still sunburnt all to heck. But I think today's going to be a very controversial video. But hear me out. It is okay to not agree with me. It is okay if you need to do something else for your family and their well-being. You don't have to do the same thing I do, just like I don't have to do the same thing you do. But this is what works for us. Now that I've prefaced that, I'll get into the video. So the topic of this video is that my husband and I ground our 5-year-old son with autism. Now, before you go freaking out, like, he won't understand it. That's not appropriate for his age. All the things. Our son is very high functioning on this spectrum. We make sure it's age appropriate when we do it, and we use it rarely. So rarely that we have to remind him what it means to be grounded. Okay, so we didn't always used to do this, and we didn't always think it was appropriate after getting the autism diagnosis. Okay, so pretty much our son is a logically driven little turdsicle sometimes, and that is me being completely honest with you and just throwing it all out there. Yes, I may be a bad mom for calling my kid a turd, but when he's being a turd, I'm going to call him a turd, okay? That's just how it is. And I tell him, quit being a turd. So, this started controversy among my friends and family when my son was grounded from TV for 5.5 days for not cleaning up his room. That was just a couple weeks ago at our household. So, let me preface this. I help him clean his room still because it's so overwhelming when he gets every single one of his toys out, because he has a massive amount of toys. He's got enough toys for like 6 kids to have full bedrooms. Like, that's how many toys he has. And I know what you're saying. Oh, just get rid of some of his toys, declutter some of his toys. No. He purposely plays with all of his toys so nicely and so meticulously, and he collects them so specifically and orders them so specifically that if I move anything, he knows I moved it. And he doesn't break his toys. He loves his toys. They are his friends. So for me to just get rid of that, that's breaking a trust barrier with my son and I. So Nikolai is being a little turdsicle. I just asked him to pick up one category of toys each hour. He wouldn't do it. He wouldn't do it. He wouldn't do it. He just sat in front of the TV. He wouldn't do it. TV got turned off. He went and grabbed his tablet, played some educational games. He wouldn't do it. Kept not doing it. There was no reason. There was no meltdown. There was no effort put forth. And we're really big on, because he is such a high functioning child on the spectrum, we want him to at least try. And he was just flat out refusing to try. It was ridiculous. It got to the point where I sorted all the toys onto the floor into the categories, and I just said, look, this train goes in this bucket, put it in this bucket. This pile, just put it in this bucket. That's all you have to do. Still flat out refused. We didn't know what to do. We tried setting with him. We tried hand over hand. He would just drop it mid-air. We tried everything we knew how to do, everything that the autism support parents group said to try, everything. What none of them said to try was a good old-fashioned grounding, like us normal kids get. And that was our last resort, honestly. So we said, fine, until you clean up your room or try to clean up your room, there's no tablet and there's no TV. Little did I expect, he is really resilient. Like, he did not care. He just sat in his bed, just staring at the wall for the first 2 days. Didn't even play with any of these stinking toys that were all over the room. Just sat and stared at the wall while he was grounded from his tablet and TV. He is stubborn. He is my kid. He is definitely stubborn. So he just sat there staring at the wall for like 2 days, only coming out of his room to go potty and to say, I don't want to be grounded. Can I watch TV? And just absolutely kept being persistent. So on day 3, I've about had it. Because when you ground your kid, you are grounded until they're ungrounded. Because you have to make sure that the grounding occurs. So I'm about ready to break down and actually allow him to watch TV because I just needed a break. I just needed a nap. I needed something. I'm pregnant. It's hot. It's summer. I don't like this. I just want to veg on the couch. I know he just wants to veg on the couch. But I'm so, so, so glad that I did not back down from grounding him. Because that night he cleaned up 3 train sets. Yes, that's only 30% of his room cleaned, but he did something. So he got a small reward where we watched 1 episode of TV, and I said, this is a promise and a good faith promise from mommy and daddy that you will finish cleaning your room before you watch more TV. So the next day he was back to staring at his wall all day on 4th day, half the day on the 5th day, and he was like, I really, 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 really want to watch Moana, mommy. And I'm like, well, you really, really, really need to clean up your room. So I finally go back in there and I sat with him and I set a timer. And we've already done that timer thing a few dozen times. But I set it this time and he's like, oh, fine, I'll clean up my toys. As he's whining, he's cleaning up his toys. Within 25 minutes, all of his toys are cleaned up. Everything is put away properly. All because I grounded my kid and I did not let up. And then the first thing he did after all of his toys were cleaned up is he watched a movie. Then he came in his room and dumped out a whole nother box of toys. I'm like, okay, before bed tonight, you are cleaning up these toys or you're going to be grounded from TV tomorrow because we are going to start with a clean room every day. Let's do this. We got this. We're going to start with a clean room. This is the new standard. You are old enough to live by this standard. You're old enough to clean your room. So if you don't clean it up tonight, you're going to have to clean it up tomorrow or you can't do anything tomorrow. So he didn't clean it up, clearly, because he's stubborn. So the next morning, until he cleaned up his toys from the previous night, he was not allowed to watch TV or play tablet. And it worked. It worked. Because after all week of being grounded from TV and his tablet, he was already so tired of being grounded from TV and his tablet that he just stinking did it. No complaining this time either. And I was like, yeah, let's go out and get ice cream for mommy and you because mommy's a winner and you're a winner and your room's clean. And we all freaking won. And if I would have listened to everything that everyone in the whole wide world of autism is telling me, that grounding your kid is wrong, that it's not developmentally appropriate for them, I would have never got that success story. And I would have never taught him the importance of doing what you need to do first and then what you want to do later. And yes, his room is dirty right now, but he makes sure that he at least cleans up the toys that he takes out of his room. So we can't win it all at once, but at least we're making these small victories where every single night before bed, he's cleaning up the mountain of toys in the family area before he goes to sleep. And the mess in his room's not really getting bigger. He just made that mess to try to get the toys out. So we're going to tackle that together this weekend. And we're going to figure out how to get his toys out that he wants out without making messes with the other ones. So yes, we still have work to do. But I didn't shut down the idea of grounding my kid just because he has autism. And it worked for me. Might not work for your kid. It might not work for all kids. It might not be appropriate for your kid to not have tablet time because some of your kids might need their tablet to communicate. And then it might not be okay for your kid to not do television if that's their primary source of learning at this point in time. But you need to think about what your kid loves to do beyond everything else and how much they can handle. In this case, my son wasn't getting overwhelmed to the point where he was stimming because we've got a lot of coping mechanisms for his stimming because his stimming is dangerous, which will be a whole nother video. We found something appropriate for him, and the time frame was all dependent on how he did. So if he would have just done the 35 minutes of cleaning the first day, it wouldn't have lasted 5 days. But it was all up to him. It was his choice, which is a thing that all autism parents say. Make it their choice. Make it their idea. It was his idea to get ungrounded, not mine. I could have lasted without the TV. And you know what? Bonus effect. Ever since he was grounded for 5 days from TV, we have reduced our TV time by about 60%. So he's watching 60% less TV now, which is amazing because he's a couch potato. He's a couch veggie. He loves watching TV. But we don't have to rely on it. And it's just good to know that what I felt as a mom was going to be good for my son worked out this time. And sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes I completely fail, but at least I'm trying, and at least I'm using my intuition as his mother and his caregiver and knowing who he is to make the best choices for him. You guys know what's best for your kid. Do what's best for your kid. But don't count out traditional consequences just because your kid has autism. So I will catch you guys in the next video. Bye.